what a wonderful story. Bengaluru sets the gold standards for working women despite several issues which have beset Bengaluru, mainly infrastructural breakdowns. There is some great news for Bengaluru, and that being a report. It is the top cities for women in India report based on a nationwide assessment by the Avtar group, a workplace culture consulting firm which has ranked Bengaluru as the most preferred city for women to work in India. Additionally, Bengaluru has also come on tops for women to work, but also as the most favored city for women to live. The other 10 cities which made it to the top include Chennai, Pune, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Gurugram, Kolkata, Ahmedabad, Tirunananthapuram and Coimbatore. And what is great news for us, the South Indians, is that there are 4 South Indian cities in that list. The reason Bengaluru has made it to the top is because of a city inclusion score of 53.29, reflecting sustained strength in industrial inclusion and career enablement. We'll of course speak to an expert to understand what does that mean. The report presents a longitudinal inclusivity index which tracks how Indian cities enable women's workforce participation, safety and career growth while identifying role model cities and emerging best practices. It also offers a structured framework for organizations, policymakers and urban stakeholders to strengthen women participation. So what is it that is so great about Bengaluru? Because like I said, it was really being criticized because it has zero infrastructure, and there were lots of cases of crime against women which was coming to the fore. But this is a moment for Bengaluru. Dr. Soundarya Rajesh, Managing Director, Avtar, has joined us on this broadcast to speak more about this. Thank you so much. May I call you Soundarya or should I call you?
Of course. It's wonderful being on your show, and kudos on making it a very interesting one, repeatedly.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm going to ask you some things which I think we women have to understand. Social inclusion score, and the number 2 is the industrial inclusion. I mean, those two have really put Bengaluru right on top. Correct me if I'm wrong, Soundarya. What does that mean? What do those 2 things mean?
Yeah, so the study framework and methodology that we use, and this is the 4th edition of the top cities for women in India by Avtar. The framework methodology that we use is we have 2 scores, social inclusion and industrial inclusion, as you rightly said, which together combined provide the city inclusion score. Now, what the social inclusion score looks at is city livability, safety, women's representation in that city, and women's empowerment. This is what social inclusion score looks at. The industrial inclusion score looks at the presence and proliferation of inclusive organizations within that city. How many inclusive companies, how many inclusive businesses are there, actually present in that city? Inclusive industries, because having inclusive organization is one thing, but if you have a large number of inclusive industries, then that automatically means that that city and that state are going to actually be a haven for the working women. And finally, career enablers. Okay. What does the city really provide? So this is how the score is arrived at.
You know, Soundarya, I want to, when you talk about industrial inclusion, and I have 2 questions on this. The first is that you're not just, you did not do this sample that you took is not only about certain kind of women, but you also went to women who are perhaps factory workers. Is that what does?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the total number of women who will be impacted by this study, which is who are coming under the ambit of this study, would be in the range of about 3.5 to 4 lakhs.
Right.
And this includes more than 400 organizations whose data also we collect. Besides which, in every city, there is an entire list of aspects such as ease of living. They're, mapping to the SDD index. What kind of crimes against women?
But what
all of these things.
Yeah, but what does ease of living mean?
Ease of living in the context of this means the extent to which a woman professional, and here we are talking about women who are working, women who have to get to office, women who have to, utilize the city's infrastructure in a very clear manner. So therefore, the ease of living that you would probably find in typically the ease of living index is further refined for this purpose, because this looks at it specifically from the viewpoint of the working woman professional.
Right,
So
but
that's what the ease of living here
you know,
really
but I
means.
don't understand this because,
Yeah.
you know, over the couple of years, Bengaluru has seen a lot of crime against women. The infrastructure has come to zero. I mean, we had Kiran Majumdar Shaw also, you know, talking to the Deputy Chief Minister about
Yes.
it. There are no
Yes.
roads. But your report presents something very different. So
That is because the women's workforce participation rate and the number of organizations that are creating enabling environments for women in Bengaluru is the #1 in the country.
but you know,
So
you
that's,
have
yeah.
Coimbatore also in that list. I saw the
Yes, we do.
Thiruvananthapuram.
Yes, we do.
Now, if you look
Yes.
at Coimbatore and if you look at
Yeah.
Bengaluru, these particular cities have lot of avenues for women to work. I mean, Coimbatore has the number of, you know, there is textiles, but there is also a big industrial zone that is.
You're right.
But then, you know, have you, you know, both Bengaluru and Coimbatore are case in point. That's why you have so much of women's participation at work.
Exactly.
Isn't that a natural corollary?
That's not a natural corollary for the cities which still are not on the index to that extent, Sudha. So that's the point. What are we really making a case for here? We are actually saying that for women to be present in large numbers, whether it is the cityscape, whether it is positions of power, positions of authority, or simply making a living within that particular city's infrastructure, within the city's offices, requires the presence of not only historically supportive industries or historically supportive environments, but also new businesses, new industries, perhaps new GCCs to actually set up in the cities that still are not ranked high. And I'll have to tell you one very important point in this. Now, if you look at the top 25 cities for women in India, they all are ranked on a score of 0 to 100.
Right.
Bengaluru's score is 53.29, which means it's just kind of breached the 50% mark.
Yeah, yeah.
So we don't have, I mean, you know, for want of a better term, we can say beggars can't be choosers. So here we are talking about the best city in India itself only being at 53.29. But do we have lessons to learn from Bengaluru? Does probably a city like, say, Shimla, which is at 25.75 on the index, does it have lessons to learn from Bengaluru? Definitely. Does Kochi, which is at 27.49?
No, but Soundarya, you cannot compare apples to pears here. Where is Shimla and where is Bengaluru?
Absolutely, you're right. But then, if I'm a woman who has, completed my education, I'm looking for a job, let's say in Shimla, which will suit my educational qualifications and which will also give me the kind of quality of life which I want, you know, with my parents, with my husband, or with my partner, with my children. I'm not going to be satisfied in Shimla. So I come elsewhere looking for that job. If, for instance, I'm, say, in Jodhpur, then I'm not going to probably get the kind of job that I aspire for, which is why you have such a large population of people who migrate to a city like Bengaluru.
Right. You know,
why is it that it's a, a sort of a coming together of so many
there are
cultures?
lots of opportunities there to work, and they say, you say that it's a great city, not only for its weather, of course, but also working there and living there. I have one last question before I let you go.
Please.
You know, Delhi and Gurgaon have done well, but not that well, because safety is a major concern here.
You're absolutely
So would you put the blame on the governments of the day, because it's their duty to keep me safe?
This is traditional. This has been there for a very long time. It's no one government that we can point our hands on. Delhi has actually, you know, kind of always yo-yoed in the list. It has gone up, it's come down, it's again tried. The one thing I can say is that Gurugram has actually made a lot of progress. 3 or 4 years ago, it was outside of the top 10. It was even near the 20s. But it has now come and it is now occupying a place within the top 10. So I think it's a question of concerted efforts by 3 or 4 different stakeholders, Sudha. This is what I feel. It's not only the government, it could be employers, educational institutions, communities, and the media.